Bluer light is better, I think. Greetings and salutations. Welcome, wizards, warrior, wanderer, and wayfarer. Like my head down at the bottom of this thing isn't gonna work. Guys, I have gotta give me just a minute, guys. I gotta put on some clothes, man. I can't be hanging out in front of the camera naked. And then I would feel like Potato Head's son, Monsieur Crackhead. What's his name? Let me see. So put on a pair of shorts. The big problem, guys, is this. It's rather hot in the capital today. Let me show you guys a project I did with my kids. This is the one I did with my daughter. Let's see if we can get a better angle on this. How's it going out in Happy Land, by the way? Everyone doing all right? You guys good? Let's get that coffee fund going, guys. If you can afford to help out the channel, please do so with a one-time purchase over at www.buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. And so the Boy Scouts staff, right, is a good tool, a versatile tool and implement of every good Boy Scout. I made these with my kids when they were Weeblos, in fact. So I thought it was a fun project to do with. The camera battery isn't charged well enough, guys. We're gonna have to make this one really short. So let's just cover the Weeblos staff. So there are various aspects of the staff. Find yourself a good white oak straight staff. These are easy to come by here in China. Maybe not as easy in the US. And there are certain features that go into it. One are the paracord wrapped grips. So this particular one is perfect for me, really. It's about eyebrow height. At the top, you install a hook. This is for a variety of applications, swinging things off the back. All right, if you want to carry a hobo's wrap. Hey, look, it's Monsieur Tiedrick out in the ideas room. Good to see you, sir. We have fired up the transmission just for you. We're reminding everybody to head over to www.buymeacoffee.com and /Frank Monday in order to support the channel if they are interested in that. Huge shout out to Monsieur Tiedrick, Jeff out in Happy Land for doing that. Thank you for your recent purchase of coffee. He didn't buy one coffee, guys. He fired away with double-fisted, big what are they, 16-inch guns or 18-inch guns off the prow of the battleship, man. Good job. Thank you, Monsieur Tiedrick. That really keeps the lead in my pencil. We're going over the Boy Scouts staff. So I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the battery on my phone is dying rapidly, man. So for some reason, my battery is not charged. I had set it to charge, but the cable didn't work. So we're going to have to cut this one short, maybe under 10 minutes, maybe less. Who knows? And then when this one disconnects, I'll jump on the laptop. Okay, guys? So I did this project with my kids when I was a assistant den leader for the BSA, Boy Scouts of America, here in China. And so it's a staff about eyebrow height, right? I install a hook at the top, like I was saying, and then some of these paracord wraps with a lanyard to attach it to your wrist, right? So you don't inadvertently drop it when you're walking around. So you've got that about wrist height so that when you're walking and using it to aid you when you're out on your scouting adventures, that's right there at the ready. And also with the lanyard, you just tuck it behind your back. And if you're doing something with both hands, then that frees that up there. Other features of the Boy Scout staff, there are quite a few features you can put into a staff. but I'll flip this one over so you can see the bottom of it here. Um, Water measuring tool, offset at 5 inch intervals. So the greens are 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I guess those are centimeters. Those are not inches. Yeah, I might have been more samurai. You're right, Jeff. The reason I deviated towards the Chinese rather than the Japanese, I'll tell you, it's because when I was young, my first martial arts class were actually karate, kempo karate, and kendo and judo. So from like 5 years old, 4 or 5, I think 4 years old, 4 or 5 years old, I started my first karate class, and my first teacher was a woman. So I learned karate from a woman. Her name was Kathy. I remember that to this day, and I don't remember her last name, but me and my brother did karate and kendo, Japanese sword fighting, until we were about 11 or 12. And then we switched over to taekwondo, like kicking exercises. And then from there, we just naturally gravitated towards Chinese internal kung fu schools. And out of all the martial arts trainers, the Japanese system seemed to be the most strict and honor bound, whereas the Chinese systems are the most organic and like easygoing. So I gravitated more towards the guys that were a little more humorous and easygoing. The Japanese are very strict and serious, somewhat grave. They're not very humorous, or I didn't at least get their humor because I've had Japanese senseis as well. Whereas the Chinese are more easygoing, man. Like when you walk into the temple, everyone's supposed to bow, right, upon entry into the temple. But the Japanese, man, they'll literally kick your ass if you fuck up the etiquette or the propriety. Whereas the Chinese folks, they don't care, man. They laugh about it. They're like, you can either do it or not do it. We're not going to demand anything. So with the Chinese, their attitude is there aren't any absolutes. You don't have to do something. But, um, anyway, get back to the Boy Scout staff here. So at the bottom, I put on a rubberized, a rubber, uh, what is that called? An end cap for walking, right? So that keeps the bottom of the staff from splitting. Then you got your water measurements here to make sure you don't get into deep water, and then you can measure your water if need be. So that's just two of the features there. And then again, a braided handle, right, with a lanyard. That's helpful. And then this one has a fishing kit underneath. It's got a space for a fish hook, a couple of fish hooks, and then the fishing line is underneath this, an emergency fish situation. And then it's just got extra paracord there in case you need it. And then the hook at the top, right? So you can think of tons of different things you could do with this. Monsieur Tiedrich says, yeah, I feel like you belong in Japan, more of a samurai soul. The Japanese, super cool, and kamikaze, they're no joke. Yeah. And when I learned about stuff like harikari, harikari is what we call it in English, but it's harikari, um, and the bushido. So the main things I know about from learning through karate do or kung shou dao, the way of the empty hand, and then rodao or soft form, and then jendao or kendo. I took a lot of those classes, and I still have a lot of fun in kendo classes. I went to kendo classes up until just recently. Frank, it is common for a Chinese Japanese dual family, or is that from? No, the Chinese have a kind of deep hatred and respect for, but they breed a deep hatred here in the mainland towards the Japanese because of World War II and what the Japanese did when they came over here. Like you may have heard of the massacre of Nanjing or what they did in Shanghai. I don't know that they really made it this far north into Beijing, but it seems like they conquered Beijing too back during World War II. And so the Chinese, they carry a grudge like against Japanese, but at the same time, they also respect their culture as well. So that's just a little bit of an introduction to a Boy Scout staff. You can look them up online. There's documentations from like the original Boy Scouts handbooks, like 1950s versions on these. I've got a lot of pamphlets and worksheets on how to make the Boy Scout staff, and the this is one of the more fun and interesting activities that you can do with Weeblos. I think this is appropriate for like fairly young scouts, like 8, 9, 10 age, right when they're getting their whittling badge, when they get their knife badge and they start to learn to cut notches in wood and they can handle a knife. I think that's the perfect time to introduce them to, and this one can be like 4 meetings, right? You get the staves and you start just with like prep work and basic staff drilling, right? Like how to stand with your staff and like how to be really careful with it and not injure your other scouts, and to learn a little bit about the nature of trees and woods and stuff. No, I mean, I see even the oldest men, you're just walking around, you got the stick and it can help you walk. It's 3 legs. It can help you in crossing a bridge without handrails. It can help you to keep balance if you need it for that. It can help you when you're on the side of a hill and stuff like that. So having a good, and then take it out with you when you're walking. If nothing else, just having it there is a huge deterrent for criminal elements that might try to rob an old timer. Folks in Chinese society, older guys, oftentimes will carry a staff or a club when they go for their evening walk after dinner, because, I mean, they're just demonstrating that they're not going to be fucked with by any type of ruffian or hooligan, which we don't really have a problem with here anyway. But staff training is the first weapon in martial arts, oftentimes, because it trains the students to use 2 hands in cooperation, and it's it's a um, it's a long weapon, right? So it's a weapon, it's a tool, it's a companion. It's You can include elements of fetish on your lanyard, and I encourage that. Like, there are some companies that make small death's heads and stuff that you can fit into the paracord wraps, and choose the colors you want, right? So I take in a lot of paracord and I get the kids to choose the colors they want to represent their ideals based on color theory, right? Do I want a red, fiery, passionate one, right? Or do I want, like, this one has muted tones of copper and bronze? There's some cream in that. That's a really nice wrap. And then teaching them to do the actual knotting and wrap, right? Like, this one is one I did with my daughter. So this is her staff, and it's got a really, forget what that's called. I'd have to look all this up again because I've not looked at my knot tying skills. But this alone, like, we've got a Celtic knot on the end here. There's a Celtic knot, and then here is a double. I believe it's called a. I forget all the names, guys. Right, it's a great activity for grandchildren. And then at the top is a, like a lark's head knot, or I think in Chinese they call them like a lotus flower knot, and then so on and so on and so on and so forth. So guys, the battery is dying on this phone, so I'm gonna bring this one to an end, but I'm gonna show you my son's staff too. So give me just a second. Give me just a second, guys, and I'll show you my son's. His is a little more advanced. He's 2 years younger than his sister, but he's a more technical type dude. So he's got a lot of bells and whistles on his, and hopefully my camera battery will last long enough. So here's my son's staff. Let me see if I can turn that light on, man. How you doing today, Jeff? By the way, anyway, how's it going out in Happy Land? Are you having yourself a bit of the Pinot Grigio or Pinot Noir? Frank, I would like to learn history of China, Japan, World War II whenever you can. I would like that. I'm not a huge student of that part of history. My my Chinese studies go from Yao to Mao. So I studied mostly the era prior to Chairman Mao. And so pre-Mao history is what I know pretty much. But yeah, that does put us at the end there where there was the Sino-Japanese War. Okay, let me finish up with this staff, guys. This one's really dynamite. So on this one, my son has got um, he's got cordage wraps, black cordage wraps at the top and the bottom, and then we've got the hand wrap dead center, right? And he's got a little death's head fetish on there, a lanyard with a Celtic knot at the end there. But then this situation here in the middle is actually it's got two slip knots in forget what they call that. I forget all my knot names now that we're in here. But you can loosen these up as such so that the staff can be carried. So you can loosen these up so that it gives slack there, and you can carry it like bandolier style over the shoulder. It worked for him when he was a kid. That way you can free up both hands quite easily with it that way. And at the same time, he's included both the hook at the top, right? And then a ornamentation of a metal thing there just for fun, right? And it's got the fleur de lis. What is that called? Fleur de lis. Yeah, I believe that's right. The lily of the valley. That's the Boy Scout symbol, or it's part of the Boy Scout symbol. But it's got that lily of the valley there, and then he used to have a couple of these on here, but a carabiner, a locking carabiner, just for attaching like an extra sack or whatever. So you could throw that on your shoulder there, and you could have something attached on your carabiner. All right, if you need extra gear, and then that bad boy's ready to go. And then when you want that extra slack out of your way, you just got a double knot system here. And he came up with all this on his own, man, just from learning basic knot skills um, at like 7 years old, 7 or 8. So kids are smart, man. Once you teach them the basics, they just run with it. And it's got two new style knots at the top and the bottom that pull tension together and keep all of his wraps nice and good. And then, yeah, the thing's ready for action. Nice. All right, guys. So that is the Boy Scouts staff. And because this camera's been overheating, yeah, I can feel it's really hot. I'm going to end this video here, reminding everyone to check me out on buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. Please hit the thumbs up. When the video posts to the YouTube, come back and leave a comment. Wanting to join the Chinese Navy, huh? No, I haven't directed him towards interest in military service, but we did Boy Scouts for 6 years until the whole shakeup of community. And once communities were all put into lockdown, they wanted to do it all online. And I was like, no, I'm not going to acquiesce to this dictum to move everything to online. Like I had to teach some of my classes online, but I wasn't going to participate in online activities as a sort of civil disobedience against being driven into a virtual reality. So yeah, I'm gonna restart it. That is right, Monsieur Tidrick. I'll be restarting on the other side, but I gotta let this phone cool down and make yourself a scout staff, guys. A lot of good fun, and if you do lead a scout troop, be sure to include the scout staff in the same year as the whittling chip because that makes a very good companion to it. And once again, thanks for tuning in, Monsieur Tidrick, and everybody out in the happy land. Y'all keep on keeping on, doing good magic, as above, so below, as we wander into the abodes of the future on the other side of the veil of night. Until then, 再见 for now.